with the cats. My vote is to sit with the cats, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. So I'm voting sit with the cats. Let's see what you guys vote. Should we sit with the cats, or should we move? Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or questions at WildEarthTV. Now, see, this is one of the things why you ponder whether to move or not, because Tayla has found one of my favorite creatures outside of the big cats and wild dogs and elephants. Let's go have a look at what little gem she has found.
For frogs, and for some, can you hear me? Sorry about that. So I've been searching far and wide to have a look at some frogs, and finally today is the day, and it looks like we have found a foam nest frog. But this is of course all thanks to Mr. Herbert, who saved the day once again, and he spotted it as we were actually looking for a dove's nest. Now, this is a lovely spot to be if you are a frog. Well, even a leopard up in a tree would be nice and cool today, especially with that breeze wafting through the leaves, and of course it's nice and shaded. And these tree frogs, unlike other frogs, they don't really need to stay in the water all day long. As long as they stay in a bit of shade and keep themselves nice and cool, they will stay nice and warm, not warm, they'll stay nice and moist and be all right. Let's have a look here. There's a couple of eggshells on the ground. Let me see here. Let me pick this one up. Now this is probably the eggshell from the dove's nest that we're standing below, but unfortunately I can't see anything in the nest at all. I'm trying to have a look. There were no adults around. I don't see any more eggs because, well, we've got one here, and I can't even see the chicks either. So possibly these chicks have already hatched and been fledged. I'm not sure when this nest was originally found. Oh, here's another shell. Look at that. And it doesn't look like they've been eaten. It actually does look like they have hatched out of them. You can see they're almost quite perfectly intact. This one I broke a little bit as I picked it up off of the ground. I reckon if it was something like maybe a rock monitor that had gotten in here, or another bird, they probably would have broken the shell up a little bit more. But this looks perfect for the size of a little chick to push on out of it. So we pop them back on the ground. It seems as though the chicks are no longer, and well, I hope that they did make it out alive and well, live to be adults one day. That would be quite exciting. We haven't really seen too much luck with the bird's nest. The one, of course, that we're following at the moment is the hardy-dar nest. That seems to be the favorite nest of everybody, and I don't blame you. They're so cute. So hopefully tomorrow morning we'll go over and have a look and check and see how they're doing. Remember, the last time we were with them, we saw that white stripe on their cheek, and I said that it means that they're between 25 and 27 days old, so a lot older than what we initially thought. So they should be ready to start leaving the nest and well, forage with their parents. And it would have been amazing if we could have seen that with these doves. Now, Sally, you were wondering this afternoon if there are many snakes out here, and you were saying that we haven't really seen too many out on the bushwalk. I think Steph has had some luck. He's had a couple of snakes. I think James had a stiletto snake, and I think Steph did have a spitting cobra at one point. There's quite a few different types of snakes, but I promise you, the chances of you seeing a snake out here, even if you're walking around, or even if you come on a safari, are really, really slim. They're more scared of us, like the rest of the animals, than what we are of them. So they feel through vibrations. So as I'm stomping my size 7 shoe around, or size 6, it depends what make it is, around in the bush, they feel those vibrations. And if they are perhaps sitting out on the road, sun tanning, keeping nice and warm, they'll scurry off before we even know that they're there. Anything that they'll leave behind is probably a track in a road, and maybe you'll hear the rustling of the leaves as they disappear. So hopefully, after all the rain we've had, maybe we get lucky enough to see a rock python. We should maybe start to see them at night time, coming to get the last warmth off of the road. That'll be quite nice to see. And like I said, I haven't seen one in about a year now, so I'm well overdue. Now, Johnny from West Virginia, you were wondering if frogs sleep. Now, I've never come across a sleeping frog before, but what they will do is they sort of estivate, so they'll keep themselves cool, they'll bury themselves in moist sand or mud, that type of thing, for the winter and the cooler periods. That's why you don't really see lots of frogs in the winter months. It's really just, sorry, I heard something breaking, but we're standing near a lodge, and it was obviously somebody opening a door, but I got a fright, thought maybe it was an elephant, but luckily it's not. And so I don't think that they sleep like we as humans do. Remember, these animals are not using a lot of energy throughout the day. It's like how we see the lions resting, and of course the impala and giraffe, and even the other mammals, they only have short rest periods. So I can't imagine a frog having a 2-hour siesta. So maybe when they're just sitting there, like we saw that frog up in the tree, doing much, relaxing, just keeping nice and cool, that's probably a good enough rest for a frog. But I think it would be really entertaining to come around the corner and we'll find 7 beds and little frogs sleeping in their beds with their leaf blankets or whatever it may be. But enough of that silly story. We're going to start making our way around back towards the big open plains now and see what's waiting there for us. But let's go back across to Evia again, and we'll see what his plans are now, just before the sun goes down.
As the sun is getting closer and closer to the majestic Drakensberg Mountains, we are slowly making our way back to the lions to see if there's going to be any activity. While you've been away, we haven't been seeing much game. It's been fairly quiet, just a bit of bird calls and stuff like that, but nothing much on the animal side. We aren't far from those lions. Actually, we're right here, a lot closer than I thought. Alright, well, let's get in here and see what they're up to. Ooh. Folks, I think we might just carry on for the moment. There is a couple of vehicles here. We'll come back in a couple of minutes and come have a look what they're up to. Let me just quickly to the guys on the radio. Station in charge of the Ngala lot. We don't want to put too many vehicles around the lions. The station in charge of the Nkuhuma coming. Apologies for bumping your lock. Could I take a first standby there, please? So yeah, just try and minimize the amount of pressure on the line, so we just keep it to 3 vehicles. So as soon as someone moves out, we'll go in and have a look again. BA, you are asking why animals are named differently, their collective nouns. In my opinion, I would say it would have just been very difficult to know what everyone was talking about if all the animals had, for example, a herd as their collective noun. So it makes it a bit easier for everyone to understand what they're talking about, just maybe a quick differentiation between birds and mammals and stuff like that. That would be my first idea why that would have been. Other than that, I don't really know the specific details on that question. I'll have to look it up and find out for you. I'll get back to you on the morning safari. Let's see, while we wait for a chance to go and view those lions, let's see if we can find a nice spot for a sunset. that elephant we saw a bit earlier was walking on this road maybe earlier this afternoon, and it's moved further north, heading out of our area of operation. It might come into the Djuma area through the night, and maybe tomorrow morning we'll get some elephant again. Let's keep our fingers crossed. While I keep looking for a nice spot for the sunset, we're going to head over to Brent, who's still with the leopards.
Well, see, we've got a sunset, but even better, we've got a sunset and 2 leopards. So they still have not moved very much. Hosana did a little bit of a rollover. I think it was the biting flies yet again. Xongile seems to be sleeping as peacefully as any leopard can sleep. I mean, she's barely moved in nearly an hour, whereas Hosana is being a little bit more restless, occasionally rolling over. And you can see just how comfortable they are in our presence. Oh, fast asleep, kitty. Now the temperature should start dropping shortly, so hopefully they'll get a bit more playful. Hello, Nicole in Canada. Nicole would like to know what would happen if Karula gave birth while these cubs were still theoretically in her care. Before she did, she would probably have a concerted effort to chase them off. She'd become very aggressive towards them. Now, it is possible, outside possibility, since she was mating with Tingana, well, how old then? 10 months. So theoretically, if she did get pregnant during the last bout of mating, she would have a new set of cubs in 3 months, leaving these guys at sort of a year old. Now, it's very unusual then for leopards to become independent at a year old. It's not impossible. The youngest I've heard of is 8 months being independent from mom, and that's because mom died though. But it'll be very interesting to see. Now, there's so much speculation into why Karula started mating with Tingana, and I'm 100% sure it wasn't a false estrus. False estresses do not last for as long as she was mating with him. She mated a full cycle with him. I think it's possible she is getting old, that her hormones might be starting to play up a little bit. So that could be a reason. But as I said, it's all speculation. And you must remember, leopards don't always get pregnant every time they mate. So there's probably a good chance she won't be pregnant from the last bout of mating. And she'll continue to look after these 2 cubs. After the mating's finished, she's come back. She's already providing for them. And the other possibility, she might have thought she lost them. That she might have not been able to find them for a few days. But I still think that time period that she started mating again was just too short in terms of them losing each other. We'd seen them together far too recently for that to be the case. I think it's just one of those things we must remember. As much as we know, there's so much we don't know. And that's the incredible thing about being out here. We get to learn every day. We get to see behavior that's interesting and sometimes unexplained, and gives us a good thing to chat around the fire about and ponder what's going on. Okay, well, we're going to switch. As I said, we're playing the patience game with these leopards, and it has worked well for me in the past. So while we play the patience game, Tayla has managed to find the sunset. Well, hopefully she never lost it, but she's got a good view of it. And of course, Bushwalk is starting to head home as it gets darker. So let's go see what they're up to.
I have to agree with Brent. The patient game definitely always pays off. So Brent, I hope while you're sitting there and they're not doing too much, they decide to wake up soon and give you the most amazing show. Now, as you can see, we're back on this beautiful big open area with the sun behind us, a couple of clouds, and marulas that make the most perfect silhouette. And unfortunately, like Brent said, it's getting dark. It's time for us to start heading home. But I hope you've enjoyed this little stretch of the legs that we've given you today. And, well, maybe learnt a couple of things or two. But from myself, VM, and of course the wonderful Herbert, thank you for keeping us safe, Herbie. We've had a wonderful afternoon, and we'll see you back on the vehicles bright and early tomorrow for the sunrise safari. But don't worry. Worried that I'm saying goodbye. The show's not over. Evia and Brent are still out there. Let's go across to Evia. I'm not sure what he's got.
Welcome back. I was able to sort a couple of things out, and we are on lineup for those lions. There's a dung beetle pushing a dung ball in the road in front of us. There might be more than one there. I'm only seeing one, but I can't see how that guy... Oh, yeah. Yeah, there is one pushing and the other one's just on it. Hitching a free ride. Maybe trying to steal it from the other one. I think we have found a pretty... If we zoom out a little bit, there's a pretty blue bird sitting just on the other side of this road, to the left. Where has it disappeared to now? Oh, just off the road. Blue waxbill. Tiny little bit. Beautiful though. Pretty nice sunset as we're going into the last stretch of the light and last stretch of the day. I think let's just bypass these dung beetles and keep moving in the direction of the lions. We've had to make a big loop around. Let's not go here. Anywhere? Copy, perfect, thank you. We have just been invited into the lion sighting, so just hold on. I'm going to put my foot down a tiny bit and try and get there quickly. Brian, how amazing is the setting with the sun and all that? It looks like a vulture in the tree in front of us. Two of them actually. Or is it just one? No, there's two heads sticking out. No, just one. Folks, while I keep moving towards the lions, we're going to head over to Brent with the leopards.
Well, as you can see, all Hosana has done is flop over. He's rolled over again. He's continuing his sort of slightly restless resting, and it's probably because he ate a bit more than his sister, so he can't quite get that belly as comfortable as he would like. So we are being very, very patient. And Sandra in California would like a folklore story about leopards. Oh, Sandra, now I'm just going to rack my brain for a folklore about leopards. I'm trying to think. There was one I know, but not that well, about the leopard and the hare. Oh, let me think about other leopard ones. Ooh, I'm trying to remember now. Okay, I'll see if I can remember the leopard and the hare. I mean, well, since we've got leopards in Charlotte, I'm just making sure they were there. So it goes back a long, long time ago. Hare used to work for leopard basically as a nanny, used to look after her cubs, and there was a massive drought, and all the water in their area dried up, and a lot of the animals moved away towards where there was water, so there wasn't a lot of food around, and it took about a month or so of almost no food. Obviously, leopard would give her food to her cubs first, and hare would get at the end. And after a month and a half, leopard had to travel further and further and further to get her prey, and she was coming back unsuccessfully after unsuccessful hunt after unsuccessful hunt. And this time she had 3 cubs, so they were still quite small, so she was nursing. And eventually, the one day, while the female leopard was out hunting, hare got so hungry, it decided, you know what, I'll just eat one of leopard's babies. No, I mustn't. But I'm so hungry. No, I mustn't. But I'm so hungry. So eventually, the hunger overcame hare, and hare ate one of leopard's babies. And when leopard got back and called for her babies to be brought for suckling, hare took one at a time. So one suckled, then he would take it away, and then he brought the second one. And then when that one was done, he brought the first one back again. So leopard still thought there were 3. And eating that one baby sustained hare for a good 4 or 5 days. And in that time, leopard hadn't caught any food. And then hare was, oh, I'm so hungry. No, I mustn't. Yes, I will. And ate another one of the baby. And hare did that again. So only one baby left. And it would take the baby, let the one suckle, then swap it out. So rotate the same baby through 3 times. Leopard then went off again hunting, about another week later. Again, no success. And by that stage, hare had already eaten all the babies. Dave, this is not a funny story. Why are you laughing at a rabbit eating a leopard baby? It's a folklore. Thank you, Dave. And so eventually hare came up with this scheme, because obviously in most African cultures, hares and jackals are the tricksters. They're the nonsense makers. And he took the blood of the remaining cub it had just eaten and spread it all over it and made it look like there'd been a massive fight. And hare tried to blame the peaceful people of the village who came and took her cubs. And leopard broke into a fury of roars and snarls and rushed off towards the village. And the grey go-away bird said, wait, it wasn't the hare. I mean, it wasn't the good people of the village, it was the hare. And that's why, to this day, a scrub hare is always running, because it's running from the wrath of the leopard. There we go, there's a African folklore. I can't remember whether it was Zulu or Xhosa, but it's quite an old one now. So I must actually double check my folklore books. Maybe I should look up a few more leopard folklore. I used to know so many. I must be getting old. Here we go, the sun is setting. Quite lovely. Here we go. You can see the sky darkening. Now, little leopards, this is when you're supposed to start playing. As it gets cooler, or at least go for a drink at the waterhole. But as you can see, the young leopards are not maneuvering at all. Being very lazy. Although young Xongile did manage to roll over while I was telling my story, you sneaky little minx, you. Some leopards even older than that, 5. But I don't think he's going to be developing a baby dewlap. I mean, he's just got a baby fat belly from being a greedy guts at that impala kill. Because as you can see, young Xongile is much skinnier. Or, we never know, maybe young Hosana was fishing for terrapins all day today next to this mud wallow. Did you eat all the terrapins, Hosana? So we're spoiled with big cats on Monday Madness, leopards and lions. So we're going to keep waiting right here, not go anywhere. But let's go see what the Nkuhuma's are up to.
Welcome back. We have joined the lion sighting. Still fast asleep. Doesn't look like there's much action. The one female's licking herself now. But hopefully soon we'll start getting a couple of yoga stretches and a bit of yawning, which will be a good indication of them wanting to move. So keep our fingers crossed and let's wait and see what's happening. Milton, you are asking if the cubs will be getting any hunting lessons soon. I think they are a little bit young to join in the hunts, in the physical hunts, but in a couple of months' time they'll be a lot closer and start getting tips from the adults. For the moment, it's just play amongst each other, chasing each other around and stalking each other, stalking the adults, and that is how they'll develop for the moment. When this vehicle moves out, we will reposition and get a nice view of them and maybe a bit of the sunset as well. I'm just going to make a little bit of space for them, just move back a tiny bit so that they can get out of here. I think they should be able to get on. Look at that. Afternoon. Alright. Let's get out their way. Lucy, you are asking if it's dirt on the cubs or if it is still mange. It is still a bit of mange. It looks like they're a lot healthier though, and Brian was also telling me they're looking a lot better. So slowly but surely getting back to good health. But unfortunately it is still a bit of mange that's on their bellies. AJ, you are asking if there's any natural remedies to fight the mange. I don't think so. I don't know of any. I haven't been told anything that the animals would use. So I think it's just as their condition gets better, they'll grow healthier. Look at that stretch. Oh, look at the claws coming out. Back in, nice yawn. Is that the cub that's called Floppy Ear? And Tayla told me it's her favorite cub. Interesting. There was a place that both Tayla and I worked at that had a female, an adult female. It was also called Floppy Ear. Or Mandlev. Mandlev is the Shangaan word for ear. Quite a fierce leader of that southern pride in the southern Sabi sands where we worked at. I had a very interesting encounter on foot with Mandlev. It was her and two other lionesses in a big open area, and we were following a male lion's tracks from the Sabi River heading up north into the area of our former workplace. We then lost his tracks, and we found these other tracks, which everyone at first thought were the male's tracks, and as we found out later, it wasn't. It was Mandlev and her two companions. So my tracker and I were walking on the road with a stick playing, marking the tracks, and the next minute we heard something run out of a little thicket in this open area. And at first I thought maybe a duiker or steenbok that got a fright and ran off. And as I lifted my head, we had these three lionesses looking at us like 15-20 meters away. And we grabbed each other and gave each other a big hug, stood together to try and look bigger. And the people on the vehicle a couple of meters away were like, "What are you doing? Why are you hugging each other?" And we said, "Lions." And we're pointing to the lions. And like, what are you saying? And said, "Lions." And eventually they saw the lions, and slowly but surely we crept back to the vehicle. Luckily we didn't get any aggression out of this floppy-eared lioness, because she was known for giving the guys a bit of a fright when they're trekking her on foot. She's definitely not a lioness that you want to walk into when you are tracking her and she's got cubs. So with her, and in a situation like this, I wouldn't have walked in and tried to look for her. Some flies bothering the one lioness just to the left of this one, grooming himself. I always wonder how these animals are so comfortable sleeping when they don't have any bedding or pillows to rest their heads on. I always find it looking quite awkward when they're lying down. It is amazing when you're looking at a fine detail like this, and what the camera allows us to do is like zoom in onto those paws. You can see the amount of hair between the digits of their toes and around their foot, around the back pad of their foot. That allows them to move around very softly. Another thing that helps with that is them stepping exactly where the back foot going exactly where the front foot was before, when they walk around. Maybe if one of them gets up and starts moving, we'll be able to show that to you. Janice, you are asking how much longer these cubs will be nursing for. From what I can gather, these cubs are about 6 months old. I think they'll be starting to get taken off the milk slowly but surely. But they'll still drink for a couple of months at least. Get milk every now and then, just less and less of it as they keep going and growing. There's one still having a proper drink there. See how the one that's drinking and the one next to it, the one that was drinking or is still drinking, look how his ears are folded back, protecting the ears from maybe fighting. If often around kills you see that as well when they're feeding, like pull the ears and tuck the ears into their head. It just adds, often around a kill there'll be a slaps being handed out and a lot of biting and grunting at each other, and with the ears being folded in, that protects them quite well. Catherine, your comment saying that you love how the lions snuggle together, it is amazing. And it's also very important that they do snuggle up and have a bit of contact. It just keeps group cohesion and just, now I've lost the word. The relationships of the animals intact. Often when they've split up, moved off and get back together, you will see a lot of touching and caressing of each other, greeting each other, and that all helps and adds on to the group and the relationship, how strong the relationship and the bond is. Bless you. Female that's giving a bit of milk, sneezing now. Christina in Australia, you are asking if I think the lion's fur will grow back after the mange is gone. I think it will. I don't know, Brian, did they look a lot worse and slowly but surely coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So definitely when their condition gets better, it'll grow back and they'll look like proper healthy lions again. The heat feels like it's lifting a bit. It's cooling down nicely now as the sun is disappearing. Nice bit of cloud cover. The hopes I had for rain that we had this morning, I don't think is going to come today. But it should at some stage come. We're hoping and keeping our fingers crossed that it'll come sooner than later. Hopefully the heat and the clouds and the humidity will just keep building over the week, and we'll get some good thunderstorms to fill up all the different dams in the area. I think one of the lions is snoring. Brian, did you hear that? It sounded like one of them was snoring. Maybe this female closest to us on the right. Or no, it's the cubs fighting for the milk. It sounded a bit like a snore. Michelle, you are 100% right. Lions are very patient mothers. I mean, you can just imagine those little sharp teeth biting into you to get to the milk. That would not be the nicest feeling, and they just lay there and take it. Only up to a point though, but they take it for the moment and for the time being. It is such a privilege to just be able to sit here and watch these animals do their thing without us being any sort of a pain to them. We're not bothering them at all. They just carry on with their daily routine as if we weren't here. It's such a privilege to be part of something like this. Get a bit of insight to the lion life.
That lioness is snoring.
She is snoring.
Yeah.
So I wasn't lying. Snoring and fighting for milk. Hello? Mum that was giving milk has just gotten up. Let's see if we can see when she starts more walking. Look at the paws and where she places the back paw. Almost exactly where the front foot was before. She's just relieving herself. Brian, I hope we're in the right spot for the wind, otherwise it's gonna smell horrible. Charlie, you are asking how many lionesses am I counting? I can see 4 at the moment, unless I'm missing one. But yeah, just 4 at the moment. One might be sleeping under a bush somewhere that we're just not seeing at the moment. But I think the entire group is here. I wonder if this little cub is going to come back and try and get some more milk. Let's see. Yeah. Back for another helping. Mum, I want seconds. Folks, while I spend a little bit more time with these amazing creatures, we're going to head back over to Brent and see what those leopards are up to.
Well, not much, just some swatting of flies. Oh, Xongile's just lifted her head. Come on, madam, time to get moving, or at least start harassing your brother. We've been playing the patience game so nicely. Of course, one of those unfortunate things is not every time you play the patience game do you actually win at the patience game. Sometimes wildlife wins, but it is worth spending extended periods with these creatures. That is the best way to see some of the most incredible interactions that most people never get to see. Oof, Lynn would like to know what has been my most favorite leopard encounter. Well, let's just have a look. Hello, little one. Oh, you are pretty. No, you're supposed to wake up and start harassing your brother now. Sorry about that, Lynn. She just turned over to face us. She is starting to look like she's a little bit more active than Hosana. A few yawns, a bit of cleaning, and her eyes are not completely shut. But Lynn would like to know, what is my favorite leopard interaction? Well, Lynn, that's a good question. But I think I've had some incredible ones over my time in the bush. Oof, now I've got to think. I think I'll make it a bit easier. I'll stick to my best leopard interactions since I've been at Safari Live. Oh, there've been so many. I mean, one that comes to mind is with Nkuhuma, Quarantine's brother. We don't see anymore. He's moved further south, and he's the first leopard I found on foot as well, here on Djuma, and he had a bushbuck kill, and he'd finished eating it, and he sauntered off towards Chele Pan for a drink, and there was a buffalo bull lying in the water, and he smacked it on the bottom and then jumped up a jackalberry for no reason. And then the next morning we had him, another incredible encounter with him. I had him climbing up a really rickety old leadwood tree. He nearly fell off about 5 times, and just really being a silly cat. And of course he had that amazing personality where he'd be sleeping just like these guys are, completely ignoring us, and then he would get up and snarl at you for no reason. So he was quite fun. And then of course another one of my favorites was definitely when Mvula beat up Xongile up in the tree right next to us. And how could I forget finding these two little monsters when they were about 6 hours old. It was a very special moment for me. And very seldom you find leopard cubs that young. You normally find them when they're a couple of days old, but we found them within hours of their birth. Let's try, I think. I had some wonderful encounters with Hosana, Xongile, and Karula on foot. I think my favorite one was I was tracking. I'd found where they had Karula had killed a duiker, and I was following the drag of where she took it down into the drainage line. It was really thick. I didn't want to walk straight to where it was, so I walked up on the bank on the other side, and I must have been about 6 feet from them, looking down, and Hosana looked at me and then hissed at me and then carried on eating. Karula sort of looked over her shoulder and then just went back to sleep. Now that was quite a special on-foot sighting. I'm trying to think. There's just so many. I'm so lucky to spend time with all these leopards. Also, young Xongile, tracking him when Shadow abandoned him for a while was awesome, because we would find him in a similar area almost every day, and often you'd find him on a big termite mound, and as you walked back to the car to go take the vehicle in, he would actually follow you back to the car, and Quarantine's done that to me as well. And I wonder if these two will start behaving just like that. I hope so. It's really, really special when you get to spend as much time with these incredible cats as we do. Even when they're snoozing. Hey, mister. Now, there's a possibility Karula might not even be back, and they'll be on their own for the night if she is unsuccessful in catching something. Oh, I thought he might go for a drink. No, not just yet. Come on, guys, it's cool now. You're supposed to jump up and down, run up trees, jump on each other. Now, Dan would like to know, if something were to happen, like a male lion running in here, I suppose, or hyena or something, would they have each other's back or not? I'm afraid it's the or not. That solitary cat instinct takes over, and it's each leopard for itself, especially with these two. Depending on the situation, mom might defend them to a point, but at the end of the day, quite often what happens is, if it's a really serious situation, the females will abandon the cubs to their fate, and the theory is that they can always breed again and make more cubs. Now, you must remember that in this particular area, leopard cub mortality is very high. It's about 70% for the Sabi Sands. So only 3 in 10 cubs that are born survive to a year old. So Karula is absolutely a fantastic mother. She seems to get these more cubs through than any other female leopard I've encountered. Now, it's quite lovely, especially at this time of the night, sitting here, because there's a wonderful smell that's starting to waft as the air gets cooler. and I'm going to show you there. Yes, there. You can see those beautiful white flowers. It's wild jasmine, and in the late evening, as it gets cooler, the smell. That's the leaf, Dave. It's shiny. No, that's also a leaf, Dave. There we go. There are the flowers. Well done, Dave. So, as it gets cooler, that smell of jasmine permeates the air, and it is quite a spectacular smell. And especially when you're out in the bush, often things are really smelly. Lions, dead buffalo, dead carcasses, even the mud wallows are quite smelly. So it's quite a nice change to have this incredibly beautiful aroma wafting out of the bushes. I wonder where Karula could be. Oh, hi, Bill. I'm assuming you didn't make this mistake, but it was Final Control. Why do leopard cubs look so much more cleaner than leopard cubs? I assume you assume why do leopard cubs look so much more clean than lion cubs? But that was Kirsten who said that. Not you, Bill. Don't worry. I know. I'm just mocking Kirsten when I get the opportunity. So they generally are quite a bit cleaner as well. They're quite fastidious groomers, and also they don't eat a lot of those really big smelly carcasses. So they don't sort of climb into the rib cage of their dinner, whereas a lion cub will be in there, right in there. So they and also they take their time. They're not so much as wolfing down the carcass and fighting, and they put the kill in the tree. You will notice that it's very rare to ever see two leopards feeding at the same time because of that solitary behavior. And so even the female, she'll eat, then the male eat, then the female eat, and then they won't all eat at the same time. So you don't have that squabbling. And at the moment, the leopard cubs are looking very, very pretty, but some of the Nkuhumas have still got a bit of mange, so they could be helping them look not so lovely. And also, lion cubs tend to carry scars from a much earlier age. They get battered around by males and females at those frenzied carcass feedings. So, Jerry, I'd say life's a little bit tougher for a little lion. There's lots more things to whack you around the ear. Now, speaking about how scruffy little lions look, it seems like Efia is still with those incredible Nkuhumas, so let's go take a look.
Welcome back. It looks like this little cub is trying to cover up his eyes. I wonder if he's thinking, when are we going to start moving? And almost like scratching his head about it, or if he's covering his eyes to get the last to avoid the light. Not that I think that's that, but it's a possibility. The only movement we've had so far is just the lions chasing around flies, biting at them, chasing them with their tails and their paws. There's been no sign, no yawning yet, no sign of them wanting to get active anytime soon. But we've got the time. Let's sit and wait and see what they get up to. Ooh, something's got their attention. There's another lion that's calling. Maybe that fifth lioness. It's contact calling just to the left of us. Lana, age 13, you are asking about which of the predators get the least amount of sleep. I think the poor cheetahs get the least amount of sleep. Look at that. In a flash, everyone is up and calling each other. Just listen to that. position here quickly. I think we are going to struggle to follow these lions if they go into the bush further, further to the east. It looks like it's quite a thick bush with a couple of drainage systems in it. So let's have a look at them. I don't think we're going to have them for much longer. Oh, it must be that other female that was calling them. Listen to that little cub calling. We have gotten on the other side of the wind now, and where that lioness relieved herself, it's all blowing towards us, and we're picking up the smell. It is not the nicest smell to be around. I wonder if there's a way for us to get on the other side of this drainage line, and then maybe try and make our way in and try and catch up with them again. Brian, do you think we should quickly race around and see if we can get them again? Or we're going to get stuck there? While we head around and try and find these lions again, we're going to head back to Brent with the leopard. And it sounds like there's something exciting happening there.
Now, if it is spot on, young Hosana spotted some impala and he leopard crawled forward. Let's see if he carries on. Now, he's probably capable of taking a baby impala. An adult might be a bit too big for him. Oh, it looks like he might have lost interest now. Dave, can you see those impala? I've gone behind a bush for me. Can't see them. They're still quite far away. Yeah, there's the little mud wallow. The impala were to the north of us, but we can't see them now. I don't want to move the vehicle just yet. Okay, Dave, go behind you. And, okay, stop, zoom. You see those two there, okay. Keep zooming into that quarry bush. Through there is an impala. There we go. You just see that movement a little bit to the right. Now you center frame a little bit back. There we go. You can see the movement there. I can't see if there are any babies or if it's an adult male or anything like that, but that's where the impala are. Wouldn't it be exciting if he managed to catch one? Looks like he's almost given up already though. But see, this is where the patience game comes in, and being with the cats at the right time of the day. Xongile is still fast asleep. Oh, he's rolling around a bit, hugging herself, and back to sleep. Okay, I can't see whether there are any babies. I can just make out that it's an impala through the thickets. I can see now there's definitely one female. Left a bit. Here we go. Ellen said I mentioned that Hosana had caught an adult duiker the other day. Where did I get that information from? I got that information from Arathusa. They saw him do it, and apparently it took him over an hour to kill the duiker. So he probably hasn't fine-tuned his hunting skills yet. Now, it's in these moments where Mom leaves them behind where the fine-tuning of those hunting skills happens. And it happens with squirrels, francolin, dwarf mongoose. But then that confidence they build, because you don't need to teach a leopard how to hunt it. It's got all that instinct there. And the confidence they build, look, there we go. And the practice they get when Mom's away is what turns them into effective adult predators. Look at that. Look at him go. He's still a long way off from those impala, probably 60 meters. Now, he's got a lot of open ground to cover between him and those impala, so it's quite likely he's going to get spotted. But, as I said, practice makes perfect. On average, leopards have a success rate of around 10 to 15% depending on the area. So only sort of every 1.5 times out of 10 that they chase something do they catch it. He's given up. Also, an adult impala might just look a bit too big for him just yet. You can see he's gone back to a normal pose now. He's still watching the impala. The impala haven't seen him, obviously, otherwise they'd be snorting. But they are moving away from him. Ashley is wondering how far the Nkuhumas are from where we're sitting with these leopards. They're quite far, actually. They're quite deep inside Arathusa. I'd probably say 5, maybe 5.5 kilometers. Oh, I can't see those impala again. They are moving away. And his interest seems to be less intent than it was. I think he might have been hoping they were going to come straight towards him and make it easy for him at the waterhole. Oh, Xongile is up. Hello, little Songololo. Is it time to play yet? Is it time to leap on Brother Dea? Make him work off some of that belly of his. And you can see from his body language he's completely given up on those impala now. Now hopefully they'll be around here on tomorrow's sunrise safari. Hopefully we arrive as Karula does to lead them off to a kill. It's always fun following the royal family through the bush. And the last extended sort of follow I did with them is when we got to see the joint killing of a poor little squirrel by both Hosana and Xongile. Hosana initiated then let it escape, and Xongile finished the job. So we're going to leave these wonderful little leopards to spend their evening here. It is getting dark. Mom's not here, so we're going to leave them be. and hopefully we'll find them bright and early tomorrow morning on the sunrise safari. While we do that, Effia has managed to find the lions, so from Dangerous Dave and myself, adieu.
Folks, we have found these lions again. Just doing our last bit of maneuvering in here. Just bear with us. See if we can get a bit closer. They are back sleeping again. Ooh. There's going to be a lot of maneuvering around here. Brian, just hold on. This is going to be a bit bumpy. We made it over. They are just to the right of us here. There's 2 cubs drinking again. So I haven't done a head count again, but I would guess that all 5 of the females are here now. It must have been the other female that called them and brought them through the drainage line back to where they are now. Should we go forward a bit more? Got 1, 2, 3, 1. All 5 of them are here. We're looking at the one giving milk at the back, the 2 adult lionesses in the middle, and then the one giving milk in the front. And then just to our right, we've got the 5th lioness. It is great that they've all gotten together. Folks, we are close to the end of our show. I would like to thank Brian and the Thumb for a wonderful afternoon exploring Arathusa. Thank you to all the other guides and their on the vehicles and on foot. Ladies in FC, thank you for all your help. And most of all, and most important, all the viewers, it was brilliant having you. We're going to have a look at these lions for the last bit of the drive. We'll see you tomorrow morning on the